Welcome to the Maura Sweeney podcast. Maura is an international speaker, Huffington Post contributor, and the trademarked ambassador of happiness. In 10 minutes or less, Maura weaves clever anecdotes, insightful questions, and personal stories to challenge your mindsets and enable you to live happier from the inside out. Here's Maura with today's podcast for you.
Are you employing your most powerful weapon in life? Well, if you're on a path to living happy from the inside out, today's podcast will definitely be a revelation and a word that helps you along the way. Your most powerful weapon in life happens to be the weapon of choice. Choice has everything to do with the way in which we view ourselves and therefore the rest of the world from the inside. Our minds choose, and therefore our minds go into a place of imagination. And the imagination can be good, and it could also be very destructive. So what exactly is the powerful weapon you could use if you're on a path to living happy? It happens to be the power to choose to forgive. Now, right now, some of you might be listening and thinking, that's it, Maura, I am turning off because you don't know what so-and-so did to me. You don't know how much I've suffered over the years. And maybe at some level I do. But if you truly do want to feel and experience a sense of happiness and freedom in life, this is one of the most powerful places you can visit in your own life and one of the biggest decisions you can make. I want to share with you not statistics, but stories, as always. Not too long ago, I happened to share with someone who interviewed me on the radio about the whole idea of forgiveness and how I learned as a young child that forgiveness worked for me and unforgiveness worked against me. I happened to use this example of approaching my 9th birthday. And when I was little, I always wanted to stay up later, probably among a number of other things, in wanting to expand myself. I really didn't like the fact that my bedtime was always so early, especially in the warmer months when it happened to be still light out when I was told it was lights out. So my 9th birthday had been rolling around, and I thought, this is my chance. So when my family asked what I wanted for my birthday, I made the giant statement, well, you can save your gifts. The only thing I want for my 9th birthday is the ability to stay, or the permission, I should say, to stay up till 9 o'clock. Well, unfortunately, my request at my 9th birthday was denied. Now, like everything else, and we all have our own stories in life, it was a big deal to me. I was so upset. I was furious, and I felt like, wow, I didn't even ask for anything that people would have to spend money for. I just want my freedom to stay up till 9 o'clock. What I chose to do at the tender age of nine was to cop an attitude, but also more importantly, I was withholding forgiveness from my mother, who had made this blanket decision on my behalf. And for probably a day and a half, which in the life of a child might as well be forever, I was not talking. I might have politely answered yes or no to things, but I was not going to engage or be my typical self. I realized at the end of a day and a half that my mother, number one, was never going to acknowledge the fact that I was angry. But more importantly, I realized how absolutely miserable I felt. And I thought, I'm going to either be miserable for the rest of my life because I didn't get my way, or I am just going to drop it and let it go and not hold unforgiveness. Do you know the moment that I made that decision? I still had to go to bed early, but I felt so much better. And the reason why is I chose to forgive another person for something they did or didn't do that was making me unhappy. But I want to go to another experience. I happened to have a friend, decades later, when I was obviously a grown-up. It was a woman friend of mine, and she always had issues with her mother. Always, probably from early life. And I remember one day saying to her, do you want to share some of this with your mom? Do you want to just let it go and forgive her? Maybe she doesn't know what she's doing. And I remember that even as I had suggested that to her. Her face shut down. She turned around and she said, "No, I don't plan on discussing it, nor do I plan on forgiving her." Now, it might seem like a strange thing, but when that happened and when that younger woman turned around with her back toward me in that state of mind, I thought, oh my goodness, I actually saw within her mental building of a jail. She wasn't keeping her mother out. She was building a jail cell to keep herself in as a result of undealt with unforgiveness. And the issue actually was more hers than even maybe her mother's. But I remember as a result of that because of her unforgiveness and literally, well, figuratively, seeing her build a jail cell around her, which formed her unforgiveness, that she became so much more fearful, I would say stringent in her ways, unforgiving of herself, and very, very limited in her thinking and her ability to expand. There's something that happens when we don't forgive, that we end up withdrawing from ourselves freedom, and therefore the happiness that comes with our freedom. Now, maybe one of these maybe your stories, and maybe they're not. I have one other story that I actually did share. It was a personal story of mine from many, many years ago that I made public in a brand new book that has just been released. The name of the book is called, of all things, I Bared My Chest. It's the stories of 21 unstoppable women from around the world who share their backgrounds, their deepest tales, and they choose to go naked, meaning that others would hear all about their most intimate details of their lives, their biggest struggles, and the outcomes and breakthroughs. I hope that today, wherever you are, you will do two things. Number one, you will give some thought to anyone and everyone and anything and everything that you might have withheld forgiveness from. Choose your own happiness and choose to forgive. Sometimes it's just a letting go and it frees you. Secondly, I would encourage you to find out my secret about what it was when I had an enormous forgiveness choice to make when I was in my mid-30s. I hope you'll do both today. Go to Amazon, find the book, I Bared My Chest, but beyond that, and far more importantly, make sure that you give yourself an opportunity to use your most powerful weapon to head into happiness as you live happy from the inside out. But before we go, let's hold on, because there's someone who'd like to share with us what makes them happy from the inside out too. This has been Maura with More For You.
Hi, my name is Cassie Sanders, and I'm from Clearwater, Florida. I currently reside in St. Petersburg, Florida with my husband and 3 kids. And what makes me happy in life is my family. They're the reason why I get up every day and go through the trials and tribulations of life. But at the end of the day, that's what makes me happy.
For more insights on living happy from the inside out, subscribe to this podcast. To learn more about Maura, visit her moraforyou.com website, where you'll find videos, blogs, books, and the Foundations of Happiness self-study e-course. Maura, 4, letter U.com, where Maura is always for you.